Hello, fifth graders, and happy Tuesday. Today we're going to continue talking about fraction word problems. By the end of today, you'll be able to solve word problems using every operation. I know you can do it, and so does Mr. Smiles. Let's dive right into our video. Let's start with our do now. James bought 3 king cakes. He let his 8 friends share them evenly. How many king cakes did each friend receive? First, what operation do I need to use to solve this problem? I need to use division because something is being split up. What's being split up in this problem? 3 king cakes are being split up. So what division problem should I use? I should use 3 divided by 8. 3 king cakes split among 8 friends. How do I write 3 divided by 8 as a fraction? It's 3/8. Each friend will get 3/8 of a king cake. Now let's solve a fraction addition problem. 2/7 plus 1/2. When I add 2/7 plus 1/2, I can't add these two fractions like they are. They don't have the same denominator. The first thing I need to do is find the LCD. Go ahead and list your multiples and find the LCD now. The least common denominator is 14. Now I need to change the fractions so that they both have a denominator of 14. When I change 2/7 so that the denominator is 14, what's my new fraction? Well, 7 times 2 is 14. 2 times 2 is 4. So 2/7 is the same as 4 over 14. When I change 1/2 so that the denominator is 14, what's my new fraction? Well, 2 times 7 is 14, and 1 times 7 is 7. So 1/2 is equal to 7/14. Now I can add. What's 4/14 plus 7/14? It's 11/14. Draw a model to solve 1/4 divided by 3. What would I start my model with? I would start my model with 1/4. It's what's being split up. Draw 1/4 on your paper now. I need to split 1/4 into 3 pieces. So how many lines would I draw? I would draw 2 lines. I know that 1 piece is in each group. So what is my new fraction? What's 1/4 divided by 3? It's 1/12. Now let's draw a model to solve 3 divided by 1/4. What am I going to start my model with this time? I'm going to start my model with 3 holes. How many pieces should I split each hole into? I should split each hole into 4 pieces, because 4 is my denominator. Now I can count the fourths. How many fourths are there? What's 3 divided by 1/4? 3 divided by 1/4 is 12. Now let's do a fraction multiplication problem. What's 2/3 times 4/5? Remember, I can multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. Well, 2 times 4 is 8, and 3 times 5 is 15. So the answer is 8/15. Let's do our last do now problem. 3/10 times 7. When I multiply 3/10 times 7, first I multiply the numerator times the whole number. What's 3 times 7? It's 21. What's my denominator? It's 10. I'm not finished. I need to change my answer into a mixed number. When I change 21 over 10 into a mixed number, what's the result? Well, 10 goes into 21 2 times. 2 times 10 is 20, with 1 left over. So the answer is 2 and 1/10. Now it's time to do your fluency. Go ahead and complete all of the problems on page 2. When you're finished, raise your hand so that Ms. Tramontosi can give you a ticket and tell you to move on. Let's start with today's lesson. Our aim is that we can solve fraction word problems. Today we're going to use all four operations, so let's think about some times when we would use those operations. We'll use addition when we are combining two quantities or putting them together. Write this down on your paper. We'll use subtraction in two instances. We'll use subtraction when we're taking away. Write this down. Or when we're comparing. So if I see a question like how many more, or how much taller, or how much longer, I'm finding a difference. That means I'm subtracting. We'll use multiplication when we are putting together equal groups. When we are repeatedly adding. Or when we're finding a fraction of a group. And we'll use division when we are splitting up or sharing. Take a moment to make sure you've written all of your notes down on your paper. Now we'll fill in the key points. Addition means combining quantities or putting them together. Subtraction means taking away or comparing. Make sure your notes look like mine. Multiplication means repeatedly adding, putting together equal groups, or finding a fraction of a group. And division means splitting up or sharing equally. Now let's try some problems. Regine had 1/3 of a pizza left after dinner. She let 3 friends share the remaining pizza. What fraction of the whole pizza did each friend receive? What operation do we need to use to solve this problem? We need to divide. Because 1/3 of a pizza is being shared equally. So I know this is a division problem. What's being split up in this problem? 1/3 of a pizza is being split up. I'm splitting that 1/3 of a pizza across 3 groups. 3 friends are sharing it. If I draw a model to solve this problem, what do I start with? I start with 1/3. How many pieces do I need to split that 1/3 into? I need to split it into 3 pieces, so I'm going to draw 2 lines. Each friend gets 1 piece. So what fraction of the original pizza did each friend receive? Each friend received 1/9 of the original pizza. Let's do another example. Zanai bought 3/5 of a bag of candy to school. Well, Naya brought 1/4 of a bag of candy to school. They decided to put their candy together. How many bags of candy did they have all together? What operation would we need to use to solve this problem? Here we would need to add, because they are combining their candy. So I'm adding 3/5 plus 1/4. I can't add those fractions like they are. They don't have the same denominator. So I need to start by finding my least common denominator. Go ahead and list the multiples of 5 and 4 now to find your least common denominator. What is it? The least common denominator is 20. Now I need to change each fraction so that it has a denominator of 20. What is 3/5 when the denominator is 20? Well, 5 times 4 is 20. 3 times 4 is 12. So 3/5 is equal to 12 over 20. What is 1/4 when the denominator is 20? Well, 4 times 5 is 20, and 1 times 5 is 5. So I get 5 over 20. Now I can add those two fractions. What's 12 twentieths plus 5 twentieths? It's 17 twentieths. Together they have 17 twentieths of a bag of candy. Now let's look at another problem. Zanai brought 3/5 of a bag of candy to school. Well, Naya brought 1/4 of a bag of candy to school. How many more bags of candy did Zanai bring to school than will Naya? What operation would I need to use to solve this problem? I would need to subtract, because we are comparing the amounts of candy. We're finding how many more. Now I can solve and answer in a complete sentence. I've already done most of the work for this problem in the previous problem. I know that 3/5 is the same as 12 over 20, and I know that 1/4 is the same as 5 over 20. All I have left to do is subtract. What's 12 twentieths minus 5 twentieths? It's 7 twentieths. Zanai brought 7 twentieths more bags than will Naya. Let's do another problem. Myron brought 8 bags of candy to school. He gave 1/4 of the bags away to friends. How many bags did he give away? What operation do I need to use to solve this problem? I need to multiply to solve this problem, because we are finding a fraction of a group, 1/4 of 8. So let's solve. 1/4 times 8. When I multiply 1/4 times 8, what's the resulting improper fraction? Well, 1 times 8 is 8, and the denominator stays 4, so I get 8 over 4. But I'm not finished yet. I need to divide to change that into a mixed number or whole number. When I divide 8 divided by 4, what's the resulting whole number? It's 2. Myron gave 2 bags of candy away. Let's do some more problems. In Mr. Gibson's cabinet, 1/4 of the cans are black beans and 4/10 of the cans are chickpeas. What fraction of cans is either black beans or chickpeas? What operation do I need to use to solve this problem? When I see either or, that's telling me that I need to combine those two quantities, so I'm going to add 1/4 plus 4/10. When I add 1/4 plus 4/10, I first need to find my least common denominator. Go ahead and list your multiples of 4 and 10 to find the LCD. The LCD is 20. When I change 1/4 so that the denominator is 20, what's the resulting fraction? Well, 4 times 5 is 20, and 1 times 5 is 5. So I get 5 twentieths. When I change 4/10 so that the denominator is 20, what's the resulting fraction? Well, 10 times 2 is 20, and 4 times 2 is 8. So I get 8 over 20. Now I can add. What's 5 twentieths plus 8 twentieths? It's 13 twentieths. 13 twentieths of the cans are either black beans or chickpeas. Zion was making bowls of ice cream for some friends. She put 3/5 scoops of ice cream in each bowl. She made 4 bowls. How many scoops of ice cream did she use? Well, what operation should I use to solve this problem? I'm multiplying because I'm repeatedly adding 3/5 scoops of ice cream 4 times. So I need to multiply 3/5 times 4. When I multiply 3/5 times 4, what's the resulting improper fraction? Well, 3 times 4 is 12, and the denominator stays 5. It's 12/5. I'm not finished. I need to change that into a mixed number. When I divide to change 12/5 into a mixed number, what's the result? Well, 5 goes into 12 two times, with 2 left over. So the answer is 2 and 2/5. Let's do another. A workout circuit includes 3 1/2 miles of running. If JP finishes 2 1/4 miles, how many more miles does he have left to run? What operation should I use to solve this problem? I should subtract 3 1/2 minus 2 1/4. I can't subtract 1/2 and 1/4 like they are because they have different denominators. Go ahead and list the multiples of 2 and 4 to find the least common denominator. It's 4. When I change 1/2 so that the denominator is 4, what's the resulting fraction? Well, 2 times 2 is 4, and 1 times 2 is 2. So I get 2/4. Now I can subtract. What's 2/4 minus 1/4? It's 1/4. What's 3 minus 2? It's 1. So my answer is 1 and 1/4. Let's do another. Jamie had 1/2 of a birthday cake left after her party. She split it evenly between 5 friends. How much of the original cake did each friend receive? What operation should I use to solve this problem? Here I'm using division because 1/2 of a birthday cake is being split between 5 friends. I'm dividing 1/2 divided by 5. Go ahead and draw a model to do that now. What's 1/2 divided by 5? 1/2 divided by 5 is 1/10. So each friend got 1/10 of the birthday cake. Let's do some more problems. Miss Hale was setting up the classroom for a day of centers. 1/2 of the class will be used for computers. Of that space, 2/3 will be reserved for Quill. How much of the classroom will be reserved for Quill? What operation should I use to solve this problem? This is a multiplication problem because I'm finding a fraction of a group. I need to multiply 2/3 times 1/2. What's 2/3 times 1/2? Well, 2 times 1 is 2, and 3 times 2 is 6. That's not my final answer because I can simplify. What number goes into both 2 and 6? 2 goes into both. When I divide 2 and 6 by 2, what's my new simplified fraction? It's 1/3. 1/3 of the class will be used for Quill. Let's look at number 10. Jonisha was playing a video game on her new Xbox One. She earned a point every time she finished 1/2 of a level. If she finishes 3 levels, how many points has she earned? Or how many 1/2s are inside of 3? What operation should I use to solve this problem? I'm going to use division. I'm splitting 3 levels into groups of 1/2. Go ahead and draw a model to do 3 divided by 1/2 now. 3 divided by 1/2 is 6. There are 6 1/2s inside of 3. Jonisha would earn 6 points. Christian was doing a science experiment with plants. Plant A grew to be 5 3/5 inches tall. Plant B grew to be 2 1/4 inches tall. How much taller is plant A than plant B? What operation should I use to solve this problem? Here I'm going to subtract because I'm finding a difference. 5 3/5 minus 2 1/4. Go ahead and solve that subtraction problem now. Remember to find your least common denominator, change the fractions, and then subtract. The correct answer is 3 7/20. Let's do another problem. 5/8 of the class was wearing blue. 4/5 of the students wearing blue were boys. What fraction of the class was made up of boys wearing blue? What operation do I need to solve this problem? I need to multiply. I'm finding a fraction of a group. 5/8 times 4/5. What's 5/8 times 4/5? 5/8 times 4/5 is 20 over 40. I could simplify that to 1/2. Let's do another. Kaylin was making treats for her classmates. She put 2/5 cups of chocolates in each bag of treats. If she makes 11 bags, how many cups of chocolate did she use? What operation would I use to solve this problem? Here I'm multiplying 11 bags times 2/5 of cups of chocolate in each bag. Go ahead and solve that problem now. Write your answer as an improper fraction. 11 times 2 is 22, and the denominator is 5. Change that into a mixed number. When I change that into a mixed number, my answer is 4 2/5. Let's do another problem. Marquel noticed that 1/4 of the class was wearing red. 1/6 of the class was wearing blue. What fraction of the class was wearing either red or blue? What operation do I need to use to solve this problem? I need to add to solve this problem. Remember, either or means I'm combining. So I'm going to add 1/4 plus 1/6. Go ahead and do that now. Find the least common denominator, change the fractions, and then add. The correct answer is 5/12. Check your work with mine. Let's do 2 more problems. Dariana made 8 boxes of trail mix. Each box had 1/3 cup of almonds in it. How many cups of almonds did she use to make the 8 boxes? What kind of problem is this? This is a multiplication problem. 8 boxes times 1/3 cups of almond in each box. Go ahead and solve that now. What's 8 times 1/3? Write your answer as an improper fraction. 8 times 1/3 is 8/3. Go ahead and change 8/3 into a mixed number. When I change 8/3 into a mixed number, the result is 2 2/3. Now let's do our last problem. Chad had 2 loaves of bread. He split the bread into 1/4 loaf pieces to give away. How many pieces could he give away? What operation are you using to solve this problem? This is a division problem because Chad is splitting up the 2 loaves of bread. I'm dividing 2 by 1/4. Go ahead and draw a model to solve that now. Chad could give away 8 pieces of bread. You've done a great job on this video. Now it's time to take your exit ticket. After you've taken your exit ticket, follow the directions on the last page of the packet to go to ST Math.